Hi, it's Ariella, and I am back with a very quick, theoretically, because I talk a lot, episode talking about artichokes and something I like to call magic dip. So I just got a porch delivery of some yummy produce, and I'm super excited. I'm going to bake this butternut squash. I'm going to caramelize some onions with these mushrooms. And I got these gorgeous freaking artichokes. They're so pretty. My artichoke plants are nowhere near giving artichokes yet. So if you somehow get artichokes right now, like, I'm very excited for you. If you have no idea what to do with them, it's super easy. So I've just rinsed them off. Artichokes are produced with pretty significant pesticides because aphids love them, bugs love them, and because of all these little leaves, they get in there and it's hard to keep them out. Believe me, I have been trying to grow organic artichokes forever, and inevitably we end up with aphids. So what you've got to do is scrub them really clean in the sink when you get them. Even if they're organic, you're going to want to still scrub them, okay? I am going to now, I actually like a little stem. It gets a little stringy to eat, but you're not going to eat all of this stem. And usually at the supermarket, they're not this pretty. They cut them short. If you've never seen an artichoke bloom, go look at my Instagram because I've got some pictures. But it grows on this stem. It's actually a flower. So all of these leaves sort of open up, and the part that you eat on the inside, the heart of it, that like kind of purple stuff on the top turns into this gorgeous purple flower. Half the time on our artichoke plants, we just let them flower because they're so pretty. But these ones I'm going to eat because there's no point in not. All right, so I'm going to cut off. I cut off a little more of the stem than I want. I'm going to put it in a pot with about 2 inches of water. I'm not steaming them. You can put them in a steamer basket. I just like to boil them because I tend to like my artichokes a little bit more well done. So if you haven't cooked artichokes before, it takes a while because you want to boil them until the leaves are soft and tender. And the way that I know that they're done is you pull off a leaf while it's cooking. You just go ahead and try and pull off a leaf, and then you can test it individually. All right. Now I'm going to shove them all into my pot. I'm going to turn on the fire. Now there are little thorns. This is my sign for thorns. There are little thorns on the leaves. Some varieties have more than others. You can absolutely cut off the tops and snip the leaves off. I have a really good friend from college who says that she cuts her artichokes very fancily and says, this is how I feel like I have my life together. I clearly do not have my life together. So we're just leaving those thorns on there and just, hoping for the best. I've got a lemon, which I've squeezed all of this half of the lemon. I'm going to actually shove that into the middle. The lemon, and then this one I squeezed about half out, and I'll be using that lemon juice from the 3/4 of the lemon. I'm going to squeeze the last of it over these last 4. I do this just to help retain the color a little bit. They get really dark green when they're done. I'll definitely show you when they're done. Shove this other part of the lemon in there. I'm going to cover it and let it boil, probably like 45 minutes or so. Checking on it, you want to make sure you don't run out of water. I have done that so many times. Set a timer, hang out, babysit, do what you need to do. My husband likes to joke. He goes, oh, are you burning more artichokes today? So that's happened. It's just a thing. So everyone has their own preferences for what to dip artichokes in. I use something that I like to call magic dip. I started calling it that when my kids were little, but it's what my mom always made for me to dip all the vegetables if I needed something to dip them in. And artichokes do call for some dipping with all of those leaves. So some people just melt butter. Some people use plain mayo. I have a sort of a creamy vinaigrette that I do. And my kids we called it magic dip since the kids were little. So for magic dip, you're going to spoon some mayonnaise into a container. And I'm not a big mayo person. I don't do mayo on my sandwiches or hamburgers or anything like that. Magic dip is the main thing I use it for. That's probably, I'm going to eyeball, maybe it's half a cup or so. You can make magic dip as much or as little. I sort of scoop out some mayo and I go from there. So I'm going to add in any kind of vinegar you have on hand and like. This is balsamic, so I'm putting like a fair bit of balsamic. I like the balsamic because it's got some sweetness in there. I'm going to add the juice, part of the juice of that lemon. It was kind of a juicy lemon, so I may not put all of it. I'm going to wait to taste it. Pepper, ground black pepper. You can fresh grind it if you're fancy. I have no idea where my grinder is, so that's not going to happen. A little bit of salt. And I'm going to use some seasoned rice vinegar. I like to also use red wine vinegar sometimes. The seasoned rice vinegar has a little bit of sugar in it, so that's nice to balance out the lemon juice and the other vinegars, because otherwise it can get very acidic, and that's not as tasty. If you don't have seasoned rice vinegar, you could use a little bit of honey. You could use... I've even, like, once I did maple syrup because I think I had nothing, and it tasted very maple syrupy. It was not my favorite, but it worked. So you could even probably just put in a little bit of sugar to balance out the other vinegar taste. So as you can see, this is kind of like a loose dip. You can make it thicker with more mayo, but like I said, I don't love mayo. And you just sort of whisk it with your fork. If you have a whisk, you can be fancy. It doesn't matter. And then the big thing is just tasting it. So, all right, that's sour. It's on the sour side. Again, a lot of lemon juice. And so it's like, you kind of just dabble, make your own. Whatever tastes good to you. That's the way to make it right. I think actually I just got a little too loose. So I'm going to add some more mayonnaise and whisk that in. As you do, this is with the dip for the artichoke. It makes it yummy. All right. So that's magic dip. You just keep going. You add a little bit of stuff and a little bit more and a little bit more until it tastes yummy. So we'll see. Okay, that's it. You could dip anything in there and it would make me happy. All right, so that's magic dip. Artichokes are going to be about 45 minutes. This keeps too, so you can make a batch of it, put it in the fridge, and whenever you leftover artichokes, oh, that's great about artichokes too. It's like once they're cooked, you can eat one and put the others in the refrigerator for another time. All right, so I hope you make some magic dip, make some magic in your kitchen, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, so we're partway through the cooking process, and I just wanted to do a close-up on what my artichokes are doing. Here we go. We're going to open up the top, and there they are. You can see that they have started to change color. The water is still in there. You do have to keep the top slightly ajar so that it doesn't bubble over. But that means that the water will evaporate. So I'm going to add a little bit more water in now, warm water, so it doesn't like completely shock and mess up the process. Okay, so we're here. It's about 45 minutes later, and I'm going to go ahead and take that off and see the color has changed on the artichokes. I'm going to just test to make sure. We'll take a leaf and pull it. You can also, if you're concerned about, I still have some water because I added it a couple times. If you're concerned about them getting done, you can always just turn off the heat and put the top on all the way. So I'm going to test it. You can actually like use your thumb. Oh yeah, that's nice and tender. All right. So these are done. And now you can dip them in whatever you like to dip them in and eat. Bon appetit. Go learn something new. Make an artichoke. I want to know who's the first person who actually decided that this thistle family looking globule flower is something that they should cook and eat the leaves of, but only part of the leaves. Weird. All right, bye.